Okay, in this video, I do use a lot of Lee reloading products, and a matter of fact, I own a lot of their bullet molds. This here is the Lee 515-500 diameter bullet mold that I ordered from a company online here recently. I own about 20 different Lee molds. They make a lot of popular style bullets. Their molds are inexpensive, they work well, they produce a good bullet, and it don't cost you in excess of $80 or $100. The 2-cavity ones are generally about 20 bucks, and the 6-cavity ones are 40, and they have a lot of popular designs, and they have some designs, like I think if I bought this in a Lyman mold, I think it's only a single cavity, and it would cost about 80 bucks. I own a lot of bullet molds. I'm happy with them, but this is the first time I've gotten a Lee product that was bad right out of the box. And I'll try to zoom in here and show you. And what I'm making this video about is I'm going to send this back to the factory and see what they do. So this is the first part of the video, and I will finish it and give you the time it took and the response I got from Lee. Kind of a consumer video. Now what happened with this mold is these are pretty big and going in the blocks, and if you look, there's machine marks at the very bottom of the mold where the cherry or whatever cut. And if you also look this way, you can see that the burr or whatever, the protrusion, it's outside the mold itself where they had the tool come down, and it was either dull or something. So I got a burr that protrudes. I got machine marks on the very tip, the tip of the cutter. I'm hoping you can see that. We'll go over to the other side here, and the same deal there. If you look down into the mold itself, I'm hoping this camera will focus, but you can see the tool marks in there, which are pretty excessive. It's pretty bad. It was a dull tool or something. So this is the first part of the video, and what I'm going to do is box this up. I've called them. I guess there's a lifetime warranty on all their tooling, so if something like this happens, I'm just going to box it up, send it to Lee. If you go to their website, they give you the address to mail it to, and I'm going to mail it to them with a letter. I'm going to make a note of the date that I send it out, and I'll give you a report on the turnaround and how their customer service is, and if they really back up stuff like they say, and we'll see what happens. Okay, a quick update on my returning my bullet molds to Lee Precision. On November 18th, I received an email that they received it, and I guess I've given an order number or whatever. I can't remember when I mailed it out, a week or two, so it was a week or two, about a week and a half, so let's say 2 weeks. And November 18th I got the email, and it's now December 3rd, so I'm still waiting to see what happens with my bullet mold return. Okay, the story of my Lee bullet mold is about to begin. I've started off, I own a lot of Lee bullet molds. Matter of fact, it's a majority of the ones that I have. They're inexpensive, they're simple, and like in the 4440, it produces a bullet that all these gun writers were saying, to load a smokeless load in a 4440 for a lever action gun. Lee makes a bullet that fits the bill. And I mean, none of them, in all the magazines, I've never seen them mention Lee bullet molds at all. Well, what happened is we started this video, and I've made it over the past about 2 months into this. I finally got my box back, and what I purchased is for the 5070. Lee makes the standard copy of the original bullet, which I've used, and it works. But I have a 5070 Sharps, which I wanted to use a heavier bullet. Now Lyman makes a 500 grain bullet, and And what it is with the sharps, the rifling's got a faster twist than the trapdoor, so you can use for long range shooting a heavier bullet, which would be longer, and that engages the rifling. It wouldn't work well, this bullet wouldn't work well in a trapdoor because of the slow twist of the rifling, but in the sharps it would. And as we all know, Lyman molds are, you know, anywhere from $65 to $80, I guess. They say, and that is just a rough guess. Where Lee molds are $19.95 plus the shipping. So I bought this 515 diameter 500 grain bullet mold, and when I got it, I noticed on the inside there were tool marks and burrs and everything down here in the bottom. Now Lee also, if you notice, there isn't a lot of room in this block, okay, for a bullet this big. I have an older Lee mold for a different bullet, 45 caliber bullet, and it came in a huge block. So if you notice the difference. And this is an older mold that has the V grooves cut in it. And still, it's spacious. It's got some room on the bottom there. Okay, this is an older style before they came. You know, I bought this a few years ago, and I forget what this is. They don't even mark these either. You know, now they mark them. You know, 515, 500 grain, but they're kind of stretching it, putting this big bullet in this little thing. So I was going to wonder, what did they actually do to the mold? Did they give me a new one? No, they reworked it. And if you look, when they machined it, they had some machining marks, and there was a burr along this edge that protruded out, and on this side. And basically what they've done is somebody has gone and filed it off. I think they took it apart and reworked it. And it kind of looks like they sanded it, the finish on the inside, or they recut it. It looks like recut chatter down there in the bullet. They did get rid of that protruding burr. I mean, that thing stuck up. If you look at the early part of the video, they kind of just polished it up. The face looks like it's been polished or sanded on both sides of the block. So basically they reworked it, and it took them a couple months, and they sent me back the same mold that I sent them. So in a way I was hoping for a new mold, because I figured whatever, they just kind of re-machined it. And when you look down inside in there, you could see where they, basically what they did down here in the bottom, where the problem was, is they recut it when you look at it this way. And kind of resanded it. So they reworked the same mold I sent them that was defective and returned it to me. So now we're going to try to cast some bullets. Actually, I believe this is too big of a bullet for this size block, and I may go and get a Lyman or something. I know a lot of us, you know, people like to shoot, and people, you know, not all of us are millionaires. So we try to conserve as much money as we can, and you find something that's not that expensive and it works. Because a lot of Lee bullet molds I have work very well, and I get good results with them. But this here, I guess we're going to have to wait and see, and I'll show you. I'm going to use it here in a few minutes. I'll show you some bullets that I got cast out of it. But that's what they did, is they reworked the mold. It had machining marks and wasn't cut quite well. It looks like they re-ran the cherry down in there and tried cleaning it up. So that's the end of that's the first thing I ever sent back to Lee. So this is another thing. This is like a reporter, how Lee handles returns. And this is the only thing I've ever sent back to the company to be fixed. And give me a few minutes and we'll finish this up. I'll show you some bullets that I got cast out of this mold. Okay, we got our mold going. It seems to make a pretty good bullet. Nose deal, they seem to polish out very little mark on there, if anything. there was a giant, if you look at the beginning of this video, it was really out of control. But the bullets come out all right. The only thing is my alloy's a little cruddy. That's why they don't look perfect. But they drop out of the mold about 507 grains. So it's a tad bit bigger. It's a bigger, longer bullet than the standard for the trapdoor, the 450. But I have to say they reworked the mold, and I don't think there's anything really wrong with the bullets. They do produce a halfway decent bullet, and the only thing is we'll give it a try with the Sharps 5070. This might be a winner. It's a nice bullet. I think, like I said, Lee makes something similar, 500 grain bullet. But if I can get away with a $20 mold compared to a $70 or $80 one, I'll go with the 20 one. We'll see how they shoot. So whenever I get around, probably in a month or so, I don't know what my work schedule, but I got the bullets. Now I'm going to work on developing a load for my Sharps.